The following program is being brought to you on the Voice America Women's Channel. For more information about our network and to check out additional show hosts and topics of interest, please visit voiceamericawomen.com. The Voice America Talk Radio Network is the worldwide leader in live Internet talk radio. Visit voiceamerica.com. The views and ideas expressed on the following program are strictly those of the host or guests and do not necessarily reflect the views and ideas held by the Voice America Talk Radio Network, its staff, and management.
Welcome to Empowering Women, Transforming Lives with Rebecca Hall-Gruyter. In our program each week, we provide the tools, ideas, and encouragement to help you move ahead on your journey, becoming a more powerful and impactful woman in your own life. Now here's your host, Rebecca Hall-Gruyter.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm excited to talk with you this week, and as we are stepping into November and looking ahead towards this fabulous holiday season, we can feel that pace picking up. I don't know if you are feeling that, but I know I can feel that as there are more things and more ways to connect, more opportunities that we can step into while we're still moving along in our normal life that, Robbie, as you and I were talking, like moss doesn't grow under our feet. We tend to keep moving and crossing things off the list and stepping forward. And so today, listeners, what we're going to be talking about is how do we balance everything. Moving forward, have this energy and this drive of things we're called to do, called to create, and called to be, and then we're in the middle of a busy season that can happen. How do we balance that forward momentum and energy with taking care of ourselves? Because if we're not taking care of, if we're not listening and honoring our body, then we're not necessarily being what we want to be in all of that forward momentum. And so it's so important to remember to pause, to take a breath, and to really check in that you are purposefully making decisions to support you on the journey. And one of the things that Robbie and I, and I'll be introducing Robbie a little bit more formally later, we're talking about is it's not a solo journey. That you're not alone. You don't have to do everything alone and figure it all out and handle everything and shoulder everything along the way. And the second thing that really came to my heart as I was preparing for this call is one of the ways you can move forward most powerfully and effectively, I believe, is by pausing. And it seems counterintuitive, especially when we feel that pressure to do the next thing and the next thing, and there's this urgency and this pressure. That's actually when you need to pause most. And take a breath. It just takes a few seconds and check in and really see, are you saying yes to the things that are serving you? Are there some different ways you could go about doing what you're trying to do? Is there support you could be tapping into? And what do you need at this moment? And I find when I remember, and this is something I'm learning and growing in all the time, when I remember to do that, I make better choices, better decisions. Things end up moving forward more quickly and with more ease when I remember to pause and check in and listen. And it just takes a couple moments in time to make such a profound difference. So what I want to encourage you to do in this busy season especially, it's a great time to start building this pausing muscle, is to remember to pause and take a breath and really check in. And in fact, we're going to do that right now this morning. So let's take a breath together. Really deep, all the way in your belly. Let your belly expand. And blow the air out your mouth. Take another breath with me. Big belly breath. Beautiful. So you just got more oxygen, which helps accelerate our thinking and calms it all at the same time. And what we have learned is actually that deep belly breathing, when you do that and you feel your stomach, your diaphragm area expand, your chest area will kind of stay flat. And you'll feel that expansion. It actually calms down the cortisol levels that can be in your body when there's stress or an accelerated pace. So it's a really, really powerful technique to calm everything down in just 2 seconds. You can do it by deep breathing. So I encourage you to do that. Now, what I'd love to do to dial this up today is to actually close our eyes. But those of you who are driving, please keep your eyes open. Stay safe, alert, but still participate in the deep breathing and listening with that internal listening as you're driving. I do want you to stay safe and alert. For those of you who are able to, I encourage you to sit in your chair, feel that back fully support you. You'll hear me wrestling around, really honoring what I'm leading you to do, walking the talk here. Feel that chair fully supporting you and put both feet flat on the floor. One hand on your heart, one hand on your head. Take a deep breath, again, that deep belly breath. And as you breathe out, close your eyes. You're absolutely safe. I just want you to be able to really focus and listen. And closing our eyes can help us do that. And in this safe, quiet space, what is it that you need today? What is it that will support you, encourage you on your journey? And just listen and receive. It can be a thought, a phrase, a feeling, an emotion, a picture, a memory. What is it that you need today that will support you? Just receive that valuable information. And then let's dial this up. I want you to sit and ask in this space, now that we know kind of what you need, I want you to ask the question, what support is available to me in this space and need? Receive that information. And then you get to make a choice. Are you willing to lean in and say yes to the support, to what you need? Are you a yes? Breathe in and out. Wonderful. I hope that you're leaning in and saying yes to whatever it is that you need, as well as the support available to you. Wonderful. Go ahead and come back, present. Open your eyes so that you can see, your ears to truly hear, your heart to receive. And capture that information, what it is that you need, the support that's available to you. And then, are you willing? Are you a yes? Because sometimes we'll see what we need and the support, but we're not always willing to receive the support and help. So I invite you to make a conscious choice to say yes, to leaning in. You don't need to do everything on your own. And I celebrate you're actually already saying yes by joining us today. You have this desire to keep moving forward in your life and in your business and all that you're called to do. And I want you to be able to do that. But I want you to be able to do it in a way that's in alignment with who you are and what you're called to do, and that's supported all along the way. So I encourage you to build this practice of leaning in and listening and pausing and receiving. One more breath together. Beautiful. Robbie, with that, I didn't know if you had something laid upon your heart that you wanted to share with our listeners today as we took that pause and moment together.
Well, Rebecca, I have to say that was a very powerful, effective, simple procedure that you just took us through, which is just, again, it keeps coming back to that simplicity, that it's as simple as taking a breath, as simple as taking a pause. that makes such a difference. It stops that chatty mind for a little bit and just brings you back to the present moment, which is a very powerful thing. So I just loved how effective that was, but how simple it was.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. And listeners, I hope you found an ease in it. I don't think we need things to be more complicated or challenging in our life, especially when things can be so busy and we can be pulled so many directions. So I invite you to really build simple practices, easy practices that can support you on your journey. And I find for myself, Robbie, and I don't know if you're like this, but I can sometimes make things harder than they need to be and more complicated.
Oh, no, you're the only one in that club, Rebecca. The only one.
Am I alone? Oh, I'm alone. No.
Yeah. It's taking me a lifetime to learn how to simplify things. How can I make this simpler? How can I take it down? And the more I do, the more I'm enjoying things more. It just, our lives are so incredibly complicated. And if you can just step back a little bit and say, okay, how can I just take this down a little bit? What's a simpler way of approaching this? It just makes it so much more enjoyable. It takes the pressure off.
I love that. Exactly. For me, alone in my journey of I'm teasing, of sometimes making things harder than they need to be or more complicated. It's been so powerful for me to take a breath and pause and listen. And then as I'm seeking, I start asking questions. How can I make this easier? How can I make this simpler? What's a way that I could do this that I would enjoy even more? Or what is just a piece of this, the next step I need to take? And it really calms the situation down for me. And I can see through that fog of stress or busyness to really just, okay, here's the next step. And it helps me keep moving forward in a powerful way, but we don't need to do it all by leaps and bounds. We can do it step by step by step and celebrate the journey, not just the destination when we eventually get there. So
exactly. Yeah, you get rid of the clutter in the mind and the clutter in the day and the clutter around you, and it just, you have room to breathe, and it just feels better. Yeah, it's as simple as one thought at a time. One little action at a time, but just taking it down. It's our minds that really overcomplicate things. I work a lot with Aboriginal wisdom, and that's the one thing that I've really latched onto is they tell us that we civilized tribes really complicate things, and that we just make things very chaotic, and it's unnecessary. And I'm learning to take their wisdom and just simplify my life in as many ways as I can.
I love it. Step by step. And then we can be present in the moment and enjoy it instead of rushing to the next thing, to the next thing, to the next thing. And listeners, we are getting ready for our first commercial break. The time goes so quickly. I encourage you to pause and listen during this break. Don't run off and get pulled a lot of directions. Really take this moment to listen and sit in this space and be very present and enjoy what's around you. And we'll look forward to talking to you in just a moment.
Tune in for Suzanne Ross and Lighten Up TV, evolutionary wellness for the body, mind, and spirit. Each episode features Suzanne and her amazing guests, including inspirational authors, speakers, wellness experts, and spiritual guides. This series is focused on achieving total well-being so that you can live well and love life. Visit lightenuptv.net to find out more. Lighten Up TV is presented by the Awakening Center, a nonprofit for those seeking a higher way of living and being. Don't miss out on living your best life now. Go to lightenuptv.net today.
Announcing a powerful new TV channel featuring programs designed to enhance and transform your life. Make powerful connections, one program at a time. And by doing so, we can bring transformation to the world. Tune in each week to Empowered Connections TV as we add new programs to help you make empowered connections of your own. Visit empoweredconnectionstv.com. That's empoweredconnectionstv.com. And make the most of an incredible life transformation.
Become our friend on Facebook. Post your thoughts about our shows and network on our timeline. Visit facebook.com/Voice America.
You're listening to Empowering Women, Transforming Lives with your host, Rebecca Hall Gruyter. If you have a question or comment for Rebecca or her guest, we'd love to hear from you. Please call into the program at 1-866-613-1612. That's 1-866-613-1612. You may also send an email to Rebecca at yourpurposedrivenpractice.com. Now back to Empowering Women, Transforming Lives.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope that you took that moment in time, those 2 minutes, to really breathe and be fully present and really lean in and enjoy this time together and giving yourself that time to really listen and reflect and experience all that's around you. Well, we are transitioning here to the formal interview segment so that you can really listen to and hear the wisdom of our expert. I'm really excited to lean in and pick her brain with you and have a conversation because our guest always serves. She has such a huge heart and ability to tap into information and wisdom to support all of us on our journey. I find every time I talk with her, I'm expanded, I'm reminded of important things, and I know you will have a similar experience in our conversation today. So let me formally introduce our guest. You got to hear a bit of her heart in our first part of our show, but let me let you know a little bit of her background. Robbie Holz is an international respected healer and speaker, co-author of the award-winning book Secrets of Aboriginal Healing and memoir Aboriginal Secrets of Awakening. Using Australian Aboriginal principles, she healed herself of hepatitis C, fibromyalgia, and a treatment-induced brain damage. So not only is she knowledgeable in Aboriginal healing and applying that in her life and really tapping into support along the way, she has applied it in her own life and now has this heart to bring it to the world. So please lean in and warmly welcome the amazing Robbie Holz to the show. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I really love talking to you, so I'm really excited to see what we can bring forth for the listeners today.
Fabulous. Thank you. I feel the same. Wonderful. Now, I always like to start with the heart, Robbie, and really help the listeners understand why this work is personally so important to you and why you have this desire and this pull to bring it to the world. I'd love to share that with them today.
Okay. Well, when I delivered my son back in 1985, I was given a blood transfusion that was tainted with hepatitis C. And the hepatitis C almost killed me. And then the experimental treatment they put me on almost killed me. And it left me in really bad shape. The Western medicine didn't have anything for me. And quite honestly, I don't think any of us expected me to survive. But I was determined to find a way to survive and to overcome that because I had a little boy that I knew was too young to remember anything about his mother. So I found out that there's all kinds of answers out there, and since then I've healed myself of all of that, and I'm just thriving and just living. I never thought I'd hit 40, and here I'm in my 60s and enjoying the being a grandmother recently. To be honest, Rebecca, it put me passionately on this path of helping people recognize how to heal, that they have that ability. We all have this innate, powerful ability to heal. It's just that sometimes we're blocking that healing and not even knowing it. And so I wanted to help people recognize how to get that power back in their hands, because a lot of Western medicine tends to be, it's not really addressing all aspects. It tends to address the physical, and let's face it, there's a money-making aspect to it as well. So I want to put the power back into people's hands and help them recognize you're a very powerful healer. You have that ability. Your body wants to do that. Let's figure out how you can accelerate that and where you've been blocking it.
Beautiful. Listeners, I want you to feel her heart and her passion for that. And there's an excitement I felt building as you were sharing, Robbie, about like the power back and that we are healers far beyond what we know and recognize So just really lean into that, feel that in every cell of your being, really absorb that you are far more powerful than you realize, a far more powerful healer than you realize. And again, you are not alone. And I know we're going to be talking about that more in our conversation, Robbie, but it is not a solo journey. And you are so supported far beyond what you may recognize and know. And hopefully today we'll be able to pull that curtain back a little bit and help you see all that is available to you. Now, one of the phrases we've used, Robbie, is Aboriginal healing. And I just want to make sure we're all on the same page with that. Do you mind explaining what that is?
Sure. Well, the Secrets of Aboriginal Healing is the true story of my husband's journey into the outback to be healed. He was a quadriplegic physicist with multiple sclerosis, and he actually had about 6 months left to live. The doctors had nothing for him. And he went into the outback with a remote Aboriginal tribe in Australia, and they gifted their healing secrets to him and asked him to take it out into the world because they said that we civilized tribes don't really understand how healing works. And they were generous enough to give these 60,000-year-old secrets to him. And he came out dramatically changed. He had feeling in his body, which he hadn't had in 7 years. He was able to clumsily walk. It was a huge transformation. And he spent the rest of his life, the next 12 years, just, again, passionately pursuing getting this information out there to help as many people as possible. And it's the 5 steps that can help anybody heal. And they use those 5 steps for everything, not just for healing, but for creating whatever it is they want, whether it's health or it's a job or relationship. It's the same five steps.
Beautiful. And something that really struck me in his story and what you've shared is they were actually waiting for him, that they knew he was coming, someone to bring the message out there. And that just, as someone who is a messenger, and I love echoing people's messages out into the world on radio and television, and that's part of my calling, is to create those pathways for people to bring their message forward. It really touched my heart because I believe many of us are called to bring a message forward, and there are people with wisdom and information that are waiting for the messengers to bring it and to share it. And I really want to encourage any of you who are feeling a pull and a little bit of who me to encourage you. Yes, you, and you're absolutely needed. And your people are waiting for you, and to really encourage you to step forward and bring your message forward and be generous to share what it is you've been given to share, because it's needed in the world, or you wouldn't have that pull. So I just wanted to underline that, and it's something that really touched me on his journey, not only the dramatic healing that took place, but the generosity of the Aboriginal healing people, that they really felt this call to give this information to messengers, and that your husband said yes and was willing to bring it to the world.
Well, the thing is that they're so tapped in to this higher consciousness or greater consciousness, whatever you want to call it. They've unplugged from the mind. They spend more than half of their day in dream time connecting, unplugging from the mind and connecting to this unified field or higher consciousness, whatever you choose to call it. And so they knew Gary was coming 4 months before he even knew of them. They knew that they were supposed to give their healing secrets to him because they were told by this greater consciousness. And I just got an email yesterday from a woman who said, I think she lives in Australia, and she said that recently some Aboriginal artifacts were being returned to the Aborigines, and she said it was so interesting. The Aborigines showed up when they returned. How did they even know they were coming and that they would be arriving that day at that time? They're just very tuned in. That's the difference. They don't let this mind I'll just automatically go on autopilot and have its way and run our lives. They calm that down. They quiet that down. Their pause muscles are very tuned in. Let's put it that way. And they tune into this greater consciousness, this intelligence that's accessible to all of us.
Well, and speaking of which, how can we find this greater consciousness right now? Is there a way that we can start actively, or maybe not actively, tapping into this greater consciousness?
Well, and again, it comes back to simplicity. It's a matter of having more presence and being still more often, so that the mind isn't just on autopilot having its way with us. And it's the mind that just forces us to just be endlessly doing the to-dos and just this constant chatter. And you just learn to just quiet it a little bit more and just kind of go within around the heart space, that inner sphere, and just get quiet and just sort of feel what's going on. And it's the quieting and it's that presence, being totally mindful, being totally present in whatever you're doing, whether you're sipping tea or you're outside walking, but not letting that mind have its way with you. That will serve you well.
Beautiful. I love that. And you know what I find when I do that? It's not something I always do automatically, but when I do that and I become very present and I slow down a little bit, I find peace and joy, encouragement, and I become aware of things that I was just passing by and not even seeing. I've been enjoying recently crows, the birds that travel in flocks, and they've been landing in this tree every morning, except the other day there was rain. They didn't seem to like that, but every day that we've had sun here in California, they're just having a blast. They're making noise, they're falling off the tree because they're eating so much, and they're actually banging on the roofs trying to open up the pods to get the tree inside. And instead of being annoyed at the ruckus or feeling like they're disrupting what I had planned for the day, I actually now just work my schedule around it and I enjoy them. And it reminds me of my grandmother, who really loved watching the crows get drunk on berries. That's what she used to call it, drunk on berries, and just causing a ruckus. But there's such joy and abandonment that they have that I get to partake in and enjoy every day during this season that I was missing before because of rushing and not listening or even getting annoyed at the noise.
Yes, exactly. There's so much awe in every moment. It's just that we need to just slow down to feel it. And I got to say, my new grandson, who's just a few months old, has really taught me, again, to slow down and watch the joy in watching the breeze rustle the different leaves on the tree, or to touch the different types of leaves in the yard. It's just those simple things to bring us back to the present. It's really very endearing.
Thank you. There's such richness around us all the time that we're missing, rushing around. And I know I opened up the show and I shared we don't really let moss grow under our feet. We are still doing and accomplishing a lot of things, but we're able to keep that forward momentum going by reminding ourselves to pause and enjoy the moments and be fully present. And it brings a richness to our lives. And listeners, I just want you to hear that even though it may logically or feel counterintuitive, this pausing and being fully present, it really will help you see the things that you need to see and say yes to the things that will serve and help you move forward effectively and powerfully. So we're going to our next commercial break. Here's another moment you have to pause and listen and receive, and we'll look forward to talking to you in just a moment.
Your favorite Voice America Talk Radio Network shows and hosts are in your car, outdoors, and wherever you need them to be. Listen anywhere. Get our mobile app for iPhone, BlackBerry, or Android at the Apple iTunes App Store, BlackBerry App World, or Android Market.
Rebecca Hall Gruyter's Speaker Talent Search is looking for people like you. With just one 7-minute audition, you could open the doors to hundreds of speaking opportunities. This is a dynamic way to share your message, reach more people, and expand your impact. Apply now at yourpurposedrivenpractice.net/speaker-talent. Finalists get to audition live in front of community leaders looking to fill all kinds of speaking opportunities. Don't wait. Find out more. Visit yourpurposedrivenpractice.net/speaker-talent.
Tune in for Suzanne Ross and Lighten Up TV, evolutionary wellness for the body, mind, and spirit. Each episode features Suzanne and her amazing guests, including inspirational authors, speakers, wellness experts, and spiritual guides. This series is focused on achieving total well-being so that you can live well and love life. Visit lightenuptv.net to find out more. Lighten Up TV is presented by the Awakening Center, a nonprofit for those seeking a higher way of living and being. Don't miss out on living your best life now. Go to lightenuptv.net today.
Become our friend on Facebook. Post your thoughts about our shows and network on our timeline. Visit facebook.com/Voice America.
You're listening to Empowering Women, Transforming Lives with your host, Rebecca Hall Gruyter. If you have a question or comment for Rebecca or her guest, we'd love to hear from you. Please call into the program at 1-866-613-1612. That's 1-866-613-1612. You may also send an email to Rebecca at yourpurposedrivenpractice.com. Now back to Empowering Women, Transforming Lives.
Welcome back, everyone. We were chit-chatting behind the scenes that we almost missed the cue to come back. But I'm excited to be connected with all of you. And Robbie, do you mind sharing a little bit of what you were sharing with me behind the scenes? It was about crows, and she was sharing that they actually mate for life and they live 70 or 80 years. Do you mind sharing a little bit of what you shared with me? I just thought it was wonderful.
Yeah, I have a friend who has been researching them for a long time over in Cambridge, and they wanted to know, since these crows mate for life for 78 or 80 years and there's no divorce in the crow world, how do they handle, when they have disagreements? And what they discovered is the crows are very good at getting it out. They get that emotion out, and then they let it go. They just let it go. And the Aborigines in the remote outback have the same philosophy. You get it out, and then you just let it go, and you stay in the present moment. And that's what the crows are doing. They're staying in the present moment. They're not hanging on to it. And I think that's probably what nature does. It's just that our human minds love to hang on to stuff. So it's, again, about letting go of the past and the future and just staying in the present moment.
I love it. Thank you for sharing that. I had no idea crows lived that long.
Yeah.
And what an interesting study that she did and discovery of that. So really powerful. Thank you for sharing. So as we're talking about being fully present, and we're looking at moving forward in our lives, because it's a forward momentum. That was the title of this show. I've mentioned many times throughout the show, and even in our opening meditation, about help, that we're not on our own. It's not a solo journey, that there's help available. And I love this phrase that you use, Robbie, which is help from the other side. Do you mind explaining what you mean by that and how we can tap into this?
This is one of my favorite things to talk about, Rebecca. I love that there is so much help available to all of us from the other side of the veil. And whether that is, in your belief system, whether you think of that as a spirit guide or an angel or your higher self or divine, God, goddess, all that is, it's a higher consciousness than your mind. And we were always designed to have all the help we needed on this journey. First of all, we're designed exactly the way we need to be for this journey. And number two, we have all the help we need, but we need to ask for it. We need to access it. And because it's free will, there's nothing wrong with pain and struggle. But the minute you ask this higher consciousness to help you, you are always responded to, always. And it makes a huge difference. I don't think people realize that the mind was not designed to know how to do a lot of the things we're asking it to do. The mind was designed to follow the guidance from this higher consciousness. There's a big shift there. So when you put this higher consciousness behind the steering wheel and then kind of scoot that little mind on over, I liken it to a dog hanging out the window. It doesn't know where it's going, but it's pretty excited. That it has tremendous faith in whoever is behind that wheel has the bigger picture, and it has tremendous wisdom, and it loves them tremendously. And so it sometimes that dog has to go to the vet and get its teeth cleaned, and sometimes it gets to go to the beach, but it's done with love and what's in its best interest. And so that's really the way we were designed, is to have this mind be support staff to the soul, to this higher consciousness, and follow the guidance. It doesn't know how to get you there. It wasn't designed to know how to bring you the best job, or how to bring that romantic relationship, or even how to heal something totally. But this higher consciousness knows, and you simply have to ask and allow the guidance to follow.
I just want listeners to really hear what you said. That is so powerful and such a shift. And I love your example of the dog. You're right. Absolutely thrilled to be on the journey and excited to get there and trusting it's all going to be great, whether it's the beach or the other place that we don't necessarily like going. The journey is enjoyed, and being able to lean in and follow that higher wisdom and higher guidance and have our mind, in a sense, take the side seat there, that it can support you on the way, but it doesn't have to figure it all out on its own and bring everything to you. Really, really powerful. And listeners, what I hope you are able to tap into is a breath there and relax. You don't have to figure it all out on your own, that there's a lot of support available to you. And a way I've heard you describe this, Robbie, is your team.
Yeah.
That you check in with your team a lot. Do you mind explaining that a little bit?
Sure. Well, everybody has at least one spirit guide by their side. You can call it a guardian angel, but they're with you from the day you're born till the day you pass, 24/7, always. And you'll have others come and go, your spiritual team, spiritual entourage, advisory committee, whatever you want to call it, depending on what you're doing. You know, if you have a child that maybe has autism, you will have others that will come and be a part of your guiding system. If you're doing the work that you're doing, you'll have others that come and go. I know that I'm writing a third book right now on how to tap into this help, and now all of a sudden I have other guidance from the other side of the veil who has shown up to help with that project. So it's not like I'm doing it alone. I've never been doing anything alone. I just know that the more I follow the guidance, which sees the bigger picture and knows the better way to do it, the easier way, it just makes it so much easier and more fun and fulfilling, because it's following what my soul's passion is, and it's following how to affect more people in a bigger way. And I just hand everything over to the team and allow them to guide me, and it's made a huge difference. My mind can relax and follow the guidance, which is your gut, your it's that instinct, that feeling, that knowing that it's right. The mind is more fear-based, so you can tell, does it feel right, and is it more love-based, or does it feel like something I should or I have to or I need to? That's the mind. So that's how you can tell the difference. Is it fear-based or is it love-based?
Beautiful. And you can get this information very, very quickly as you tap in and build that muscle and that connection and that way of receiving information, that it's instantly available at all times. Oh, I appreciate that about you and how you are able to bring that into your life so powerfully. Now, you mentioned a book, forthcoming book. Would you mind sharing a little bit about that with us? You heard it here first, everybody.
Well, I just finished the Aboriginal Secrets of Awakening. I literally just finished it, and then a couple of weeks later, I found out I was doing a television show in New York, and I was swamped by people who wanted to know, how do we access our teams, our advisory committees? And so it became very clear to me, I guess I'm writing another book. I thought I would take some time off, but apparently not. It's because it's so important, because people don't realize they're designed to have tremendous help from the other side, but they have to ask for it, first of all. And then it's about getting that mind to shift into support role rather than being in charge, and letting this higher consciousness guide you with tremendous love and wisdom, seeing the bigger picture. And, especially when you get to people like you and a lot of your listeners who are making a huge difference on the planet, they're not alone. They have all the help they could possibly need, who can take it even bigger and better and easier if they would allow this guidance to come through. And my job really is to just get my mind out of the way and allow them to guide me. So if you do that 3-second gut check, you just know instantly in 3 seconds whether it feels right or it doesn't. If you go longer than that, guess your mind is now involved. Your mind is now actively involved in the discussion. So you start becoming more aware of that. When you get a thought, when you first wake up in the morning or during the night, that's directly from a higher consciousness. The second or third thought, now your mind's engaged and awake. So you start to recognize that, and it just feels better. It feels right. And it just makes it so much easier and so much better and so much bigger than you could ever imagine. That's the way it was designed to be.
Thank you for sharing that. Love, love, love it. And I love that check-in, that if it feels right, and love and alignment, and I even think there's a lightness and excitement with it, and a simplicity, that's very much listening to your wisdom and guidance there. When it feels heavy and I should and have to, which isn't very empowering, by the way. I don't know many people that like to be driven by have to and I should. I know I don't. That's when you're letting the mind run versus really listening to that wisdom and direction. And I actually have a quick exercise. Can I run us through that, Robbie? Do you mind?
Please.
Just came to my heart as you were sharing. So here's another way, and I actually have to stand up. So I'm going to adjust the microphone here and stand up. So here's a way that
you sound taller now, Rebecca.
Oh, I like that. I'm growing. Here's a quick way that you can really tap into this gut. So in this wisdom and yes or no without overthinking, you actually stand up and you have your feet equally placed. It's easier without heels if you're a heel person, which I'm not wearing today despite sounding tall. And you ground yourself. You feel your weight equally weighed through your feet, I guess is the best way to say it. And you have your knees kind of loose so that they're not locked. And you take a breath. And you simply ask a question that's a yes or no question. Should I be, and it's not a should, well, it can be sometimes should, or I do should a lot. Should I be, but it's not a should with a weight, it's really seeking wisdom. Should I interview Robbie on the show today? My body will lean forward and you'll feel the weight actually shift to the balls of your feet, and it's this upward lightness energy. That's a yes. And then, should I be interviewing someone else today? And I get a no. My body will actually push backwards and I'll feel the weight shift to my heels. I do this with vitamins in the grocery store. I do it when I'm looking at purchasing something or when I'm really seeking direction and guidance. And I find it really powerful, and it makes it so easy. I can just listen and respond and not overthink things. So just a way to really, in your body, feel and use some of this valuable information that Robbie's sharing with us today.
I'm totally with you. I do that all the time, all day. Exactly. Do I take this supplement today, and how many do I take? Because everything changes every day. Yes.
Exactly.
Right. Am I supposed to help this person or not? Exactly. Tune in to this greater consciousness. Yes.
Love it, love it, love it. And then my mind, which is very active, by the way, and loves to help, doesn't necessarily make it harder or more complicated, because it can do that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but it needs to shift into a more support role rather than behind that wheel. That makes a difference.
Exactly. Yeah. Then it can channel its energy to its heart's content. But I want
and then it can relax.
On purpose. Yeah.
It can relax because it doesn't have to be in charge. It can follow the guidance, which is what it was designed to do. That makes it takes the stress out of it. It just it makes a big difference.
Beautiful. Well, we're going to our next commercial break. It goes so fast. And what I'd love for you to do during this break is listen and practice this yes and no. And if you get a moment, listen to the commercials. We actually have amazing sponsors that believe in you and in this show and are making it possible. And I'd love for you to get to know those organizations and people that believe empowering women is important. They are leaning into you and saying yes to you. And we'll look forward to talking to you in just a moment.
Your favorite Voice America Talk Radio Network shows and hosts are in your car, outdoors, and wherever you need them to be. Listen anywhere. Get our mobile app for iPhone, BlackBerry, or Android at the Apple iTunes App Store, BlackBerry App World, or Android Market.
Rebecca Hall Gruyter's Speaker Talent Search is looking for people like you. With just one 7-minute audition, you could open the doors to hundreds of speaking opportunities. This is a dynamic way to share your message, reach more people, and expand your impact. Apply now at yourpurposedrivenpractice.net/speaker-talent. Finalists get to audition live in front of community leaders looking to fill all kinds of speaking opportunities. Don't wait. Find out more. Visit yourpurposedrivenpractice.net/speaker-talent.
Announcing a powerful new TV channel featuring programs designed to enhance and transform your life. Make powerful connections, one program at a time. And by doing so, we can bring transformation to the world. Tune in each week to Empowered Connections TV as we add new programs to help you make empowered connections of your own. Visit empoweredconnectionstv.com. That's empoweredconnectionstv.com. And make the most of an incredible life transformation.
Become our friend on Facebook. Post your thoughts about our shows and network on our timeline. Visit facebook.com/Voice America.
You're listening to Empowering Women, Transforming Lives with your host, Rebecca Hall-Gruyter. If you have a question or comment for Rebecca or her guest, we'd love to hear from you. Please call into the program at 1-866-613-1612. That's 1-866-613-1612. You may also send an email to Rebecca at yourpurposedrivenpractice.com. Now back to Empowering Women, Transforming Lives.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope you enjoyed that commercial break. You got an opportunity to test out the listening to your body, that muscle testing, yes or no, and that you got a chance to learn a little bit about our sponsors because they are absolutely believing in you and lifting you up. And as a special announcement, we actually have now officially launched our television channel called Empowered Connections TV. So I encourage you to check that out. You'll be hearing some of our sponsors are actually people that are launching shows, and in those commercials they're going to give you a little snippet of what the show is about so that you can lean into the transformational programming that's supportive to you. So that is empoweredconnectionstv.com. We'd love to have you listen in. Now, one of the things that I shared with Robbie behind the scenes that I do is I do this muscle testing all the time on which guests to bring aboard, what time of the year, what should the show be about, as well as I do it when I do programs that I launch throughout the year, or if I'm launching a telesummit, which we have one coming up in December. I really look at the order of the speakers and the experts because I want it to serve on the highest level. I want whatever I do and create to serve beyond what I can even see. And I love having that perspective and that wisdom that's a bigger view and longer view than I can see in myself. And so I love tapping into that all the time. So I shared that with Robbie. And you shared as well that you muscle test everything. So I love it, love it, love it. So we are really applying these principles, and it makes a profound difference. Now, along those lines, we wanted to keep bringing you resources and tools to support you on your journey. So we gave you some exercises today that you got to experience and apply real time with us. But beyond that, we also have some additional gifts to support you on your journey. And we capture all of those on a page. But before I tell you where, I would love to have Robbie, do you mind sharing what your amazing free gift is?
I'd love to. I'm excited. It's an abundance meditation, and because everyone wants to know how to create more abundance, and I really believe that the more you have available to you, the more you can help other people direct that money, that abundance, and you're designed to have a beautiful, abundant life. So I've made this really short meditation. It's probably about 10 minutes long so that you can fit it in easily into your lifestyle, no matter how busy you are. And that's my gift to you, is this abundance meditation to create more abundance in your life.
I love it. Who doesn't want more abundance that's simple and easy? I love it. Thank you for making
You're welcome.
This meditation available. So here's where you find it. You go to radiogifts.net, and that's plural, radiogifts, because there's more than one, .net. You'll see several gifts from me because I'd love to support you and encourage you on your journey. And then you will see Robbie's picture and her amazing gift that she's giving you to support you on your journey, this meditation. I encourage you to lean in, say yes to this resource, and bring that abundance and simplicity and encouragement and support into your life. And we're not stopping with that, because behind the scenes, Robbie had something else in addition that was laid upon her heart and resources that she wanted to make available to you. And before I reveal that, I wanted to let you know why we do this, because we want to give you practical things you can bring into your life to keep that forward momentum going, to remind you that you're not alone, that things can be easier and simpler and still bring forward all that you're called to bring forward, and you're not alone. And so I have my experts give you tools and resources every week to support you on your journey, so that you can leverage and build off of that in a really powerful way. So, Robbie, do you mind sharing what else was laid upon your heart to share with us today?
Sure. Well, I've been doing consultations and helping people for a long time, and I can see where they're getting stuck and where they need a little help. So on my website, I have a blog section, and I've created a lot of articles geared towards where I see people needing a little more assistance. And I've got a big section on angels and spirit guides and how to communicate to them the best way, the best times. And I think the most important one is how they communicate to you, because a lot of people miss those signs. There's articles up there about how to get your mind out of the way, how to allow them to help you heal faster. So there's a lot of information that I keep putting up that I find people really need on their journey. It makes a big difference. So that's available at my website, holzwellness.com, HOLZ as in zebra, WELLNESS.com.
Beautiful. And for those of you that missed that or you're driving, it is on our site. So if you go to the link where you're listening to the show and you look in Robbie's bio, you will see her site there as well. So I encourage you to check that out and tap into those resources. And I think you were even saying there were 8 signs that... Would you share what that is? 8 signs you're getting help from the other side of the veil. Because someone recently called me and said, my guides aren't listening to me. And I'm like, no, I think that you're the one not listening. So I created that blog to help people recognize how they're being helped, but they don't know it. Beautiful. Yeah. I love that. How horrible that feels to believe they're not listening, and what a gift to be able to understand how they're communicating with you, so you can really tap into that wisdom and support. So Absolutely beautiful. I appreciate you sharing with us today, your generosity and making these tools and resources available to us, Robbie. Thank you.
Oh, I love getting it out there. Spread it out there. Going to help it. The more we can help people, the more we're going to heal, and the planet will do so much better. So I'm a big fan of getting this information out there as big as I can.
Beautiful. Well, listeners, I just want to thank you for joining us today. I hope you have found our conversation and shares today empowering. And I just want to remind you of a few things that we talked about. Really look for ways to simplify, to slow down, pause, listen. You are not alone, and this is not a solo journey. And we can really move faster, more effectively, in an easier and more abundant way when we remember to pause, slow down, and listen. And breathe deeply. That will help you move forward effectively and powerfully in a very supported way. And be willing to tap into that support throughout your day, in your daily living. I do it from supplements to purchase and buy to really big decisions I may be making about buying or selling a home or making a big move like that, or a business decision, that it really serves on all levels. And I want you absolutely supported in everything that you do, and tapping into the wisdom and the guidance that is available to you. Because I want you to bring forward everything that you're called to bring forward. I believe you're absolutely a huge gift that is needed so powerfully in this world, but you have to be willing to say yes to both bringing forward what you're called to bring forward, and yes to being supported in that journey. And I encourage you to say yes both ways, and then lean in and move forward. Because you're needed exactly as you are. You're a gift. I loved how you shared, Robbie, perfectly designed for what you're called to do. You're absolutely equipped. And remember that. And as you go into and through this season, I encourage you to bring that peace and that pausing and that rich breath, oxygen-filled breath with you every step of the way. Wherever you go, whatever you do, may you always, always bloom where you're planted and shine. I so look forward to talking to you next week. Take care.
Thank you for joining us this week for Empowering Women, Transforming Lives. Please tune in again for another edition with your host, Rebecca Hall-Gruyter, next Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, 11 a.m. Pacific on the Voice America Women's Channel. And join us for a replay of the show every Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, 2 p.m. Pacific on the Voice America Empowerment Channel. Have a beautiful week, and may you always bloom where you're planted and shine.